John Deere A. It's a 1945. This is Sam Landorf out of Genoa, Illinois. And right behind here we have a 1952 Farmall H, Bill Peterson from Genoa. You'll notice, like, when you look at this tractor here, you don't see really a proper frame per se. This is called unit construction, so it's where basically the engine and transmission were the structural components of the tractor itself. So it doesn't have a standard frame that you're then bolting things onto. It is the frame. Here we have a 1939 Farmall F20. This is Gordon Beckschultz from Byron, Illinois. Custom wagon here on the back. Again, that F20 was the direct descendant of the original Farmall, which they called the Farmall because they couldn't do it all. Again, that original Farmall was designed and made to be able to replace any of the horsework that was still left on the farm. Originally, the Farmall design came about because International Harvester was trying to work on a series of self-propelled cultivators, and that didn't really lead anywhere, but the research and development from that is what then became the Farmall. John Deere D, this is John Elko out of Kingston, Illinois. John Deere D was one of the first commercially successful tractors that John Deere had made during that time, during those early years. Here we have a 1939 John Deere G. This is John Elko out of Kingston, Illinois. Machine, which was very, very powerful for the time. It's Ethan Coach out of Rochelle, Illinois. You'll notice it has that big tank up there, and that's because this isn't running off for gas or diesel. It is running off of LP. Here we have a great Patina tractor here. This is a John Deere 60. It's a 1954. This is Tim Schultz out of Burlington, Illinois. I bet this thing still gets a lot of work done. Here we have a nice little Farmall Cub. It's a 1959. Tim Schultz out of Hampshire, Illinois. Again, you see he's got that offset driving position. This is basically a scaled down version of the Farmall A. And here we have Nels Chalmers D12. This is 1965. Dennis Rasmussen from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. This was a Series 3, so this is towards the end of the line. And this had a 12-volt electrical system. You also notice in the wheel hubs, you see some weird little pieces of metal going. That was a power changeable rear wheel system where you can basically undo some bolts, move forward and backward. You can adjust the width. Here we have Jason Erickson on a Twin City 2132. It's a 1935. Twin City was Minneapolis Steel's line of tractors, which is what was carried forward once the company owned the line for Minneapolis. Here we have a John Deere A Style 1939. This is Charles Woodward out of Gilbert, Illinois. When the John Deere A came out, one of the revolutionary features of it is that it had a hydraulic system and an implement lift, which was revolutionary for the time. And that one also has a PTO on the back, which could be used to power whatever you were pulling behind you. Here we have a Farmall A. It's 1954. This is Charles Woodward from Gilbert, Illinois, with a mower deck on the bottom. Pretty unique. You don't see that around here a lot. Here we have a 1956 Case 300. This is Charles Woodward from Gilbert, Illinois. Got that floater there on the front. In case eventually they had everything was in Flambeau red for a while, and then they added the Desert Sunset two-tone. Here we have a very important tractor in tractor history. This is Alice Chalmers WC, the first family from Earthwood. The reason that Alice Chalmers WC is so important is that it's the first tractor to come stock pneumatic rubber tires. Up until then, many tractors were still using steel wheels. Here we have one of our directors, Chris Johnson, on his John Deere 3365. He's from Portland, Illinois. This lawnmower here was originally the groundskeeping mower for the Caneland High School. Here we have Alan Anderman on his Farmall Super C. You notice with the exhaust, it's got that little flap. It's popping up and down on there. That's to protect it from getting rain in there so your exhaust doesn't rust out, and also, you don't want to get rain going down into the engine. Here we have a 1953 Oliver 88. This is Dennis Lewis out of Elgin, Illinois. Here we have a 1953 Farmall Super A. This is Dennis Lewis out of Elgin, Illinois, being driven by a Haley. And here we have what was the new generation of John Deere tractors. For over a half a century, John Deere made horizontal twin-cylinder engine tractors, and that was it, full stop. But in the late 50s, early 60s, John Deere realized that they needed to change course. Their competitors were getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So they came out with this, the 1964 John Deere 40 of all John Deere sales across the U.S. and Canada.